Welcome back. Today we are jumping into one of the hottest topics on the planet, large language models, or LLMs. All right, let's get right into it because as incredible as these tools are, there are some really big challenges hiding just under the surface that we need to talk about.
And, let's face it, the magic is real. We've all seen it. You throw a prompt at it, and boom. In seconds, you get back a sonnet, a working piece of code, maybe even a whole business plan. The power is just undeniable.
So, yeah, it's no wonder you hear the word revolutionary thrown around so much. The hype is absolutely massive. And you know what? It's for a pretty good reason. These models really do feel like they're about to change, well, almost everything.
And this is the big question for today. What happens when that magic trick doesn't quite work? What are the fundamental flaws we absolutely have to understand as we start to depend on this tech for more and more of our work and our lives?
Okay, so first up, let's talk about the most obvious problem area, the quality of the output itself. When an AI spits out an answer, what can actually be wrong with what it's telling you? I'm sure you've been there. You're having a conversation with an AI. It seems incredibly intelligent, and then all of a sudden, it just says something that's completely, totally wrong, but says it with all the confidence in the world. So what on earth is going on?
Well, the industry has a name for this: hallucination. And here's the most important thing to get. The AI isn't lying to you. It has no concept of truth or lies. It's a super advanced pattern matcher, and sometimes the pattern it generates sounds plausible, but it's actually complete fiction.
So that's one issue. But here's another, more subtle one. Have you ever been using an AI and just gotten a weird vibe? Like its answers are kind of leaning into old stereotypes or only showing you one side of a story?
Yep, that's bias. You have to remember, these models learn by reading a gigantic chunk of the internet. And if the internet is filled with our human biases, our stereotypes, and our prejudices, well, the AI learns all of that too. It's like it's holding up a mirror to us, flaws and all.
So, okay, we've got problems with what the AI says, but the issues actually go a lot deeper than that. Now we're going to pop the hood and look at the hard limits baked right into the technology itself.
We're going to hit three huge ones: the mind-boggling cost to run them, their surprisingly bad short-term memory, and the fact that their knowledge is basically frozen in the past.
First, let's talk cost. And I don't mean your $20 a month subscription. We are talking about an insane amount of energy and money. Training and running these LLMs requires giant server farms that consume electricity on the scale of a small city. It's incredibly expensive, which means only a handful of massive companies can afford to do it.
Next is context length. The easiest way to think about this is as the AI's short-term memory. It's surprisingly limited. If you have a long, detailed conversation, the AI can literally forget what you talked about at the beginning. That's why it sometimes gets confused or asks you to repeat yourself.
And finally, there's the knowledge cutoff. An LLM isn't connected to the live internet. Its knowledge is stuck at the point in time when its training data was collected. So if a model was trained on data up to early 2023 and you ask it about the winner of the 2024 Super Bowl, it's got nothing. It's like a history book with the last few chapters ripped out.
So this all brings us to our third and maybe the most complex bucket of challenges. What happens when this incredibly powerful but flawed technology meets human society? This is all about the human-AI alignment problem. And here, we're going to look at three big ones: the fact that we don't know how they think, what happens to your private data, and the ultimate challenge of just making them safe.
First, interpretability, or what everyone calls the black box problem. Get this, even the engineers who build these models don't fully understand why it gives one answer instead of another. The internal workings are so ridiculously complex that you can't trace the logic. It's just a black box.
And that black box leads us to something very, very personal. When you're typing your thoughts, your questions, your secrets into a chat window, where does all that information actually go?
This is the core of data privacy concerns. The reality is, a lot of companies state in their terms of service that they can store your chats and even use them for training future AIs. That means your sensitive info could potentially become a permanent part of the next model.
So, you put all that together, you've got a powerful tool that hallucinates, that can be biased, that's a black box, and that might be training on your private data. It leads to the biggest question of all: how do we make sure these things are actually used for good? And that right there is the single biggest challenge in the entire field. It's called alignment. It is the massive, almost impossibly hard task of making sure an AI's goals align with our complex, messy, and often contradictory human values. It's not just about telling it, don't do bad things. It's about teaching it what good even means.
Okay, wow. We've gone through flawed outputs, technical limits, and huge societal risks. So let's just take a step back and bring it all together.
Let's do a quick recap. Under output quality, you've got hallucination and bias. Under the technical engine, you have the massive costs, the context limits, and no real-time data. And for human AI alignment, you're facing the black box of interpretability, data privacy, and the ultimate goal of true alignment.
So here's the bottom line. None of these challenges are actually stopping AI from moving forward at lightning speed. But, and this is the key, solving them or failing to solve them is what will absolutely define the future of this technology and its place in our world.
And that's what I want to leave you with. As this stuff gets woven into the fabric of our everyday lives, which of these hurdles do you think matters most? Is it the hallucinations, the bias, the privacy? What's the one thing we absolutely have to get right? That's all for this explainer. Thanks for tuning in.